Adam remembered the sound of God's footsteps, even after the garden gates closed. Even after the soil grew stubborn and sharp with thorns. Even after the first grave broke the earth, he remembered. And when Adam held his son Seth for the first time, he saw it again, that faint echo of glory in human eyes. Not untouched, not perfect, but still there. The image, the breath, the spark that refused to die. So Adam told Seth the stories. He told him about a world that once needed no clocks. About days without fear, about walking with God like a friend at sunset. Adam lived a long time, long enough to watch generations stack like stones, one life built on another. And then, one day, Adam died. Seth grew old too. He learned early that love always walks hand in hand with loss. He buried his father, then later his friends, then eventually his own strength. Still, he believed the promise that God had not abandoned humanity, that goodness could still travel through bloodlines and bedtime stories. Seth had a son named Enoch, and Enoch had a son, and each generation learned the same hard truth. Life is long, but not forever. They built homes. They planted fields. They laughed, fought, reconciled, and dreamed, and then they died. Cain lived long enough to forget the sound of his own laughter. Mahalalel lived long enough to outlive everyone who once knew his face as young. Jared watched the world slowly change, inch by inch, heart by heart. Time was generous with years, but merciless with endings. Yet something sacred traveled through them all, not perfection, not innocence, but the image of God carried like a fragile flame, flickering, dim at times, but never fully extinguished. Then there was Enoch. Enoch noticed God in the ordinary, in the rhythm of walking, in the silence between words, in the ache of wondering if any of this still mattered. While others simply lived, Enoch walked with God, not because life was easier, but because he chose closeness over numbness. And then one day, the pattern broke. No grave, no long goodbye, no, and he died. God took him. And the people whispered, maybe death isn't the final word. Methuselah was born, and time seemed to stretch just to hold him. 900 years of watching humanity wrestle with itself. 900 years of seeing love bloom and violence grow side by side. 900 years of wondering how long mercy would last. Methuselah lived longer than anyone, but even he could not outrun the truth. He died. Lamech, his son, felt the weight of that truth deeply. He named his child Noah, saying, "He will comfort us from the toil and painful labor of our hands," because by then the world was tired. People were tired of hurting each other, tired of working soil that never quite yielded enough, tired of carrying the image of God while forgetting how to honor it. And then Lamech died. Noah remained, a man born into a broken inheritance and a sacred one. Behind him stood 9 generations of lives that loved, failed, hoped, and ended. Before him stood a world on the brink, and still, the promise had survived. From Adam to Noah, the message was clear: humans fall. Humans fail. Humans die. But God's image endures. And his promise keeps moving forward quietly, faithfully through ordinary people who keep choosing to pass it on. Because history isn't just made of heroes. It's made of fathers telling sons, mothers holding babies, and people who live, love, and die trusting that somehow their lives are part of a story bigger than themselves. And they are. Even now, thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.